Welcome to the Eternal Decline and Fall of Rome, the History of a Dangerous Idea podcast. This podcast is teasing out some ideas from Ed Watts's new book with the same title. And so we've been doing these conversations for a while, and they've been just wonderful. And so, Ed, could you tell us a little bit about the book and how the podcast connects to this project you've been working on for a while?
Absolutely. So the book grew out of a realization that in the past 5 years in particular, but especially in the United States across maybe the past 50 years, there's been this rhetoric that the United States is perpetually in decline and requiring some sort of radical move to fix things. I mean, this is not just the United States where this rhetoric occurs. You see it in Brazil, you see it in Spain, you see it in France. This is a rhetoric that appears around the world. And the rhetoric is something that to many people seems kind of anodyne, kind of just part of the ecosystem of rhetoric and not particularly dangerous or significant. But what you see when you look at this across time is this rhetoric can just exist in the background, but it can also be activated for really dangerous things. And so, what I wanted to do in this book was look at the rhetoric of Roman decline and fall. Of course, Rome is the society that is pegged most closely with the idea of decline and fall in the Western imagination. And for 2,200 years, this rhetoric has surrounded Rome. And this is probably surprising to us because during that 2,200 years, Rome rose. It conquered the Mediterranean. It became a world empire. It lived in that state, in that situation for over 300 years, and then it gradually declined over the course of another 1,000 years with multiple recoveries. But this rhetoric is always there. And in Roman history, this rhetoric is frequently used to target individuals who are supposed to be responsible for making the decline happen. And it frequently is used as a justification to punish those people so someone else can take power and consolidate power. But the other thing that's interesting about Roman history is occasionally you have this rhetoric used to bring society together. And when it is used to bring society together, you don't identify individuals responsible for causing the problem. You instead identify problems and focus on the skills that individuals possess that can help society fix those problems. And so this rhetoric can be used to destroy society, but it can also be used to bring society together and make it stronger and make it more cohesive. And so what I hope the book does is allows us to think about what we are doing when we use this rhetoric of decline. Are we using this rhetoric in a positive way to try to bring society together so everyone can lend whatever skills and capacities they have to improve the conditions that trouble us? Or are we using this to identify villains and to identify responsible parties that we want to target and we want to hurt and we want to disenfranchise? And if we are doing the latter, it's extremely dangerous. And we need to be very sensitive to the risks of a rhetoric that exists and targets other people. Because across Roman history, we see millions of people die because of this. Hundreds of thousands of people lose their property, lose their rights, lose their place in religious communities. But when this rhetoric is used productively, it brings people together in a fashion that makes society stronger and makes them feel more a part of what's going on in the world around them.
So this is like all things. Things can be used to good or ill, and this is an interesting study because it's also, I think, it's interesting because you have to be careful about making historical connections to contemporary things sometimes. But there seems to be a lot of lessons we can learn, especially in the post-Trump era, from a book like this about how dangerous the kind of making America great again, or we're going to make Rome great again sort of narrative can do. And it seems like that's part of the inspiration for the work.
That's true. And I think that's what these conversations are designed to do. And what we are hoping to do and what we're trying to do is talk about these ideas that unfold across over 2,000 years and think about what these ideas mean in a contemporary context, what they mean for us. What are some things that are going on in our world that we can understand better because we have this historical background that we can draw upon. And history is not something that provides ready-made templates that predict the future. What history does is it provides us with ways to expand our understanding of the world around us and to think constructively about responses that we might have to the things happening around us. And also be aware of dangers, dangers that we might not otherwise see because simply our lifespan is too short and our frame of reference is too limited. And so, what I'm hoping we're doing in these conversations is taking aspects of the past and playing around with them, seeing where they lead us, and seeing how they can better help us understand this world, this contemporary reality, this contemporary space where we are trying to put together appropriate constructive responses to the many problems that we see around us.
Ed, I'm having a good time on the journey with you, and I'm looking forward to continue learning with you. So thanks for inviting me on the journey.
Thanks so much, Scott. I'm looking forward to this.